Okay, we'll be starting this build off from the front. This is where the door entrance is to the beehive that you can fly into. And we're going to start from the very bottom. So this is going to be a mostly hollow build. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 blocks to the center, or 1 center block, and then 3 out to every side. And then just filling in angles from there to make the bottommost disc of the beehive. Okay, and that's what it will look like for the bottom layer. And we'll move up. I'll ignore the bees on the sides until we get to that point. My bad there. You can ignore all of the honey, shroomlight, and honeycomb blocks. This is all just interior decoration, so if you want to put a normal interior to the building, that is perfectly fine. So we're going 2 blocks off on the side here. Again, this is the back, and we're just working our way around in a circle. People have asked me to do commentary over my builds, which I haven't really ever done before. So I don't know exactly what I should or should not say to make it easier to follow. But I'll do my best, and I mean, at least I'll improve with time. But again, any of these interior blocks are completely optional. So again, this is from the front side, the 3rd layer up. You will have to light up the inside somehow if you don't want mobs to spawn. I personally love this combination of the shroomlight with the honey and honeycomb blocks. And they're not really placed in any specific pattern. They're just kind of haphazard around, so it looks like there's honey and honeycomb kind of flowing over everything. This is what it looks like so far. I feel like I'm going a little bit too fast. I'll try and slow down. I don't know, when I put myself on the spot for creating a conversation where I don't know where it's going, I feel like I just start doing everything a little bit faster. All of this is just to try and get the beehive to be slightly round in shape. This was such a pain to design because it always ended up looking either too blocky or too round. So you can go for this sort of interior, but it doesn't make it very useful. Let's just do, I should probably just stick with 1 block for right now. Terracotta on the outside, just going for small overhangs here. And I use the Litematic schematics to follow over, otherwise it would take me a very long time to make any of these tutorials, which would mean it would take even longer for me to make more builds. And I mean, I really like building, so I just want to get out as many builds as I can with the free time that I have when I'm not in class or doing homework. And this is an absolutely great way for me to be able to do that. The shroomlights do go with the honey and honeycomb blocks better than any light, but they don't go perfectly with it, which is why I try to always cover them in honey. Sometimes I might like make a mistake and miss something, But usually I try to cover them all up because the shroom lights shining through looks wonderful. Okay, this is where we start using a different color of terracotta just to separate the layers so it's not just one big continuous yellow sphere. And this for the most part is just taking one block in from the exterior. And these extra little bits on the side, so this is coming off the T by 1 on this side, and that one's coming off the T by 1 on the left. These extra bits here are just to make it slightly less round and more organic in shape. They're like little bits of drip or overhang. At least that's the intention behind them. So again, we got the T on the very back side, one off at an angle, and then one coming straight out from the back. And again, carrying this terracotta around every side by just going in one, just to get that little bit of an indent. For this design, I was thinking more of like a very cartoonish beehive. You know, where it's black and yellow and striped going up, kind of bubbly looking. I don't know. If you know, you know. And with this, we're already, I think, a third of the way done. Or no, we're a fourth of the way done. Okay. Sometimes it's a little hard to see because I don't remember what's underneath of this guide, which is why I always try to attach the blocks on one layer next to each other. This is a bit of a confusing shape, so off the front, moving up one block from the terracotta and out one, it'll be 3, then 2, then 2, and then we're going to put a little plus shape going on that diagonal. And we got 2 down, and we're just going for a 3x2 rectangle here. And we're going to carry this around to this side, where this is like another kind of plus shape, but we're bumping it out a little bit just so it's not perfectly symmetric. Again, another 3x2 rectangle, followed by another plus shape. I didn't even realize I made this kind of like plus repetitive pattern while I was building it. I don't know. I build a lot of my things on stream. If you want to check that out, there will be a link in the description. There will also be a link for the Litematic file and a world download for this as well. Okay, and now we're going to throw in some decorations on the inside. Again, this part is not something you need to seriously copy. Like, these blocks can be placed pretty much in any way, as long as they give off that kind of dripping effect. So more like curves and overhangs coming down. But we can replace any of these with any of the other types that we're using, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just following it because I hate the red overlay when you misplace a block with this mod. Okay, so from the very outer pointed tip of the front, I'm going to start the next layer by going around the outside with terracotta. 2 and 3, and then 2 and 2. I believe after one more layer it'll start curving back into the middle. And then this will essentially just be repeated again, but upside down for the very top. If my voiceover is helpful or not, or if you like it but you can think of ways that I can improve, definitely just let me know. Because I haven't done this before, and like anything I do, I will do my best to practice and get better at it. But like the first video people are like, hey, can you do a voiceover on? Was the mushroom stump, which was just hours long. So I definitely wasn't gonna start with that one, because that seemed like way too much work for myself. But maybe at some point I'll go redo it for like a third time. It's coming in this off the entrance. This is gonna be the floor of the little walkway. And again, just throwing in these decorations. Shroom lights behind honey blocks, because honey blocks are transparent, and honeycombs just for a little bit of variation amongst all of this. As you can see, some things like this are completely blocked from view, so it's actually not worthwhile to put one there. So you definitely don't need to follow the interior block for block. The exterior would probably be a better decision, because I spent a very long time getting the shape of the outside. The inside was something I kind of threw together at the end, just so it's not completely empty. And we will get to those bees at the very end. Okay, so this is the walkway for the entrance. So I guess I was wrong on the other one, and it's just one higher for that terracotta walkway that you come in on. Again, essentially every layer we're just going around the rim with yellow terracotta, except for the separation layers that are the brown. This is a 2 by 2 by 2 by 1 zigzag. Like, I don't know how much I should be just stating the name of like every block as I place it. This is the very back side. We got another 3 across, and it's vertically a 2 by 3 rectangle. The one thing I try to be the most conscious of while building these is to not like whip my camera around too fast. Because I do have my sensitivity up pretty high. So small movements for me might be a little nauseating for people to follow. Again, we got a 3 by 2 rectangle just to check that you're kind of making the correct progress here. Then we got a 2 and a 1 and a 2. Whoops. And 2 and 1. If you are on Java Edition, I would very highly recommend using the Litematic mod, because you can use it to just copy and paste these builds into your world, or you can use them like I am and follow the schematic if you are playing in survival. If you are on Bedrock, unfortunately there's not anything I can do for you, which is why I do still make these tutorials instead of just only giving out the world files and the Litmatics. Because some people can't actually follow along with them because they're not PC players. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, play on whatever version of the game you like. There is not a single one that makes Minecraft a bad game. But if you can play with mods that make your life easier, I don't know why you wouldn't. That's just my 2 cents on the issue. Again, I'm trying to always orient myself from the exact same starting point. So try to always come in from the front. This is where the main entrance of the hive actually is going to be. So we got our entrance there, and I'll start again with the yellow terracotta. So we have 1 by 1 by 2. 1, and then I guess some interior blocks. A little L shape on this right side here. And just mirroring that over for another little backwards L. Oh, this part is probably an area where I just punched out some blocks from the outside to add a little bit more depth when it was looking too boxy. So this part might be a little confusing. Looking at it from the front side, once you get this shape here, it'll be 3 diagonal blocks with 1 jutting out from the exterior too. And then we're coming to an S on the back. I think of everything I've ever made in Minecraft, this was one of the most frustrating ones. Just trying to get all of these blocks on the outside to make a beehive shape. Like, throwing in the interior decorations took me only a couple seconds. The bees on the outside were, again, just a couple seconds, but just shaping the hive was just ages and ages. Okay, we got a little T shape here. This is the left side, looking towards the center. Got 2 blocks at an angle there, and this will be angled blocks all the way to the front. I do personally find this style of tutorial incredibly easy to follow, which is why I make them this way. And also it's a lot faster for me to do. Like, this doesn't really get behind like how I build and design anything, but I think it actually translates the build very, very well. Where it's more difficult to misplace blocks when you're going layer by layer. Because you can always just stop and just analyze like one bit if there's anything that you forgot to do. I should probably zoom out and look at it more. Just get more aerial shots. But the real reason why I started doing this, I mean building it by layer like this, was not for tutorials, it was just for making TikToks. Because people find it really interesting when something is built in an unusual way. I guess I could also reorient these slices. So we just got one angle coming off there. Otherwise it's just the inset of the brown terracotta for another layer. But I could reorient these slices so instead of going from the bottom up, they go from like left to right. And that would also probably be a pretty interesting time lapse. Because one thing I find a lot nicer about this style of building is when it's sped up, you can still see the interior without having to do a pan through of the whole build. So let me see about this. Okay, so from this left side looking in, from our weird like 3 bump spot, we go 1 to the left, and then up 1 and over 1 for this block right here. I feel like that's going to be a confusing one to place. So I'll just do a little extra work to point it out. And here we got diagonal blocks all the way to the front. And this one will be 2 from the left and out 1. Just on an angle there. Coming into the inside, we got some upside down dark oak stairs. Increasing this terracotta wall, so when you come in, you'll walk to the right and down these honeycomb blocks. And this wall here is just so it looks like a darker entrance from the outside. It also gives it a tiny bit more depth when looking at it from the exterior compared to looking in and just seeing more yellow. The entrance gets really lost if it's just a dark circle and not a dark interior as well. So this is coming directly above the stair, upside down stair. Go another dark oak stair, brown terracotta, dark oak stair, and yellow terracotta off the front. And then we're going to start on the right side with a yellow terracotta L. Just to go into the middle. Diagonal 1 back, and diagonal 1 out. If I could just place it without making so many mistakes, that'd be great. Oh, that one angle and then another L. Again, another T-shape. This is where the whole build is just starting to be reversed. So you could essentially watch the beginning, excluding the interior parts, in reverse to get how the rest of the build is going to go. I still needed to place that one. This section's a little weird. So from the T, we got a down angle of 2, and then 2, 1, 2, 1, then 1 again. And this dot is coming off that middle single block. And here above this point, we're going to have a C shape, which is just offset by 1. So it's not centered around this, but just above it and curls off to the right side when looking towards the front from the back. Feel free to pause this at any time, and if my voice hasn't annoyed you yet, you can always mute it and listen to some music. Normally that's what I'm doing while making all of these builds and time lapses, is just listening to music and singing very loudly. But if doing a voiceover helps anyone, I'm all for it. And if it doesn't, then I can literally just re-upload this, but mute the sound and just put some copyright-free music on it. Okay, brown terracotta to cover most of the entrance, and an upside-down dark oak stairs, just to give it a little less of a blocky view from the interior. Again, I'm going fast with placing all of the honey and honeycombs, at least intentionally, because it truly isn't that important. Here's the queen bee, the one that stays in the hive. As you can see, much bigger than these smaller ones that we're going to put on the outside. If anything, I'd say at least leave the queen bee in the interior. You can change up the honeycombs and honey on the walls however you want, though. And don't be afraid to give everything names. I would if I wasn't so awful at trying to come up with names. Okay, what? Oh, because it's an angle, I'm hitting that part and it's placing on the front. Sometimes it's just really hard to tell what's going on through the Litematic. Okay, so from the front we got an S going off to the right. If you've ever played Tetris, you will recognize this shape. Then we got 2, and 2, and 2 again, and then a single block, And we're gonna fully reorient ourselves, looking from the right side towards the center. Just a little bowl shape here. Again, this is almost entirely a perfect inverse of the bottom half now. There are some blocks that are changed up just so it doesn't look so uniform, but it's mostly the exact same thing. This is a 2, 2, 2, 1 zigzag going from the corner of that bowl shape. And again, we're making another 2, 3, 2 bowl shape, except this time I've punched out 1 for an interior block. We got a 2, 1, 2 side from the back right. I guess looking from the front, it would be the back left. Looking from the back, it would be the right side. Another bowl on this side over here, which looking from the front would be the left. And this is all, I probably should have said this earlier, this is all meant to hang on a tree, but you can put it wherever you want. That was at least what I designed it for. 2, 2, 2, 1, yet again, and this is to finish the bowl shape on the front. The most critical thing here, I believe, is just having enough light so mobs don't spawn in. You don't have to go so overkill on the honey. I just really like how honey blocks look, and the sound of them being placed is wonderful. The kind of like wet squelch sound. I don't know. I just think they did a very good job with it. But since I'm in creative mode and there's literally no cost for me doing more honey blocks, I am perfectly content to use as many as I want. This is a 2x3 and a 2x3 on the top. This is going directly over the door. So 1, 2x3, 2x3, just to orient yourself on that. I do try to make everything achievable in survival though. Like, it wouldn't be too difficult to make a honey farm that could eventually produce this much honey. But I'm not going to start using like netherite for all of my builds, because that would just be a little mean. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And we got a C going in here, or a bowl without the lip on the sides. And this is the exact same shape as over there, which is 2, 3, and then if you change the direction, so it's 2, then 3, and then if you turn to the left, it'll be 2, and then 2, and then that C shape again. It's crazy to think that I started doing these builds an incredibly brief time ago, and I'm already almost to 10k subs on YouTube. Like, absolutely mind-boggling. It's been so fun too, and everybody's been so nice. So C shape, and then again the 2, 3, 2, 2 kind of shape, just going off this side back to the front. If you want to discuss builds at any point, you can always do so when I am streaming on Twitch. Or you can join the Discord. Again, there will be a link for that in the description. If it at any point breaks, just let me know. I do try to read all of the comments every day. That so far is at least still a very manageable thing. You can always message me there, or send pictures in the creative chat to get advice on anything that you're building. And everybody there will absolutely hype up anything that you do. If you want advice, though, just ask, and we will critique the best that we can. A lot of the times, that's just what I'm doing when I'm in class. Like, I should be paying attention. But I prefer to just go on and respond to people. Which is probably why I end up cramming all of my homework at the end of the week. So we got another C here. 2, 3, 1. I don't know. I think the weirdest thing would be if somebody watched this video just to listen to me talk and not because they wanted to build this. That's still fine. I mean, do whatever you want. I personally would find that to be, well, it's just strange to me. It's not really a strange thing to do, though. Got back to the layer of, like, plus shapes. This is a 2, and then a 3 by 2, and then a 2. And this is from the back side looking at the front. Probably did that a little bit too fast. So I'm just going to pause here for a second in case you need to look at everything there. Again, rewind, pause, comment yourself, timestamp so you don't forget. Whatever works for you. But yeah, I kind of started doing everything in January. This is just going tangentially and not related to the build at all. Because without saying like 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, just like describing the placement of literally every block, I don't know what else I can say to guide you along creating this. But it is really crazy to me to think that I kind of started like all of this in January, at least more seriously doing it in January. And I got the ability to make money on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube all in the same month. Like, it seems to me a little unfair how quickly it happened. Because I know there's other people that spend a lot more time and a lot more effort to get to even like the small amount of growth that I feel I'm at. This is probably too fast. So going in from the front, we got 2, and then it's up 1, and then up 1, and then we're going 3 to the left. This is the centermost block, by the way. 1 here, 2 to the right, and then 2 at an angle, and then just capping this off with 5 brown terracotta blocks, and then going 2 at an angle again, this time with 1 yellow terracotta sticking out, and 5 more brown terracotta at the back. 2 at an angle again, 5 on the side, 2 at an angle, and then completing the 5 of the front. If there's anything that you want to see me build, throw it down in the comments. If I find it interesting, I'll pursue it. Otherwise, I don't know. Everything is always a good inspiration at the very least. Because there are a lot of times when I sit down like with ideas that I have, and I've changed my mind as to whether or not I want to do them. So it's always nice to have more ideas. So from the back, we have 1 jutting out bit here, and then going to that first diagonal bit, we have 1 coming off diagonal there. And this would be from the front, the left side, coming 1 in on this 5 block, and then 2 out, we have another one. And then all the way off this corner, we have 1 more yellow terracotta. And we're going up yet again. Coming in from the front, this would be the middle block. So middle, back, up, and there's the brown terracotta, and we're coming up 1 off of that. For 3 blocks in the front, and then 3 blocks on the side. Followed by 1 block and 2 blocks. And this is the pattern we're going to kind of be repeating around this layer. So 3 again, 2, 1, 2, and then 3. I'm sorry if I ever lose my train of thought while saying something interesting. I always intend to say something interesting, but I never know if I achieve that goal. Because what interests me may not interest any of you. And we're back to the front. Just got to throw in the interior lighting. I will be doing a tutorial of my large airship this afternoon, which should hopefully take me less than 3 hours. That's gonna be... oh, that one's gonna take so long. I intended it, like, basically everything I build to be small, and in the end it ended up being really big. Just because all the changes I made to make it look, like, slightly better, they all just made it bigger. It is what it is, though. You'll have a massive airship build you can follow if you want to. 1, 2. If you've made it this far into the build, hey, you know what? Maybe consider subscribing if you haven't already. There might be something else that you like in the future. It's possible, you know. I build a lot of different things. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with 2 blocks sticking out on the center and the left side. I don't know, my favorite part of doing all of this is probably either watching the time lapses back on TikTok or just chatting with people in Discord or on Twitch. It's also really fun to make emojis for a Discord channel and a Twitch channel. The sad part is, I didn't realize you get so few, like, emotes for your Twitch chat when you're an affiliate. Like, you only get 3. And you have to have, like, a high concurrent number of subscribers in order to get more. And I kind of just wanted to make a lot because it's fun. It's just really fun to design all of the emotes. Maybe I could just design emotes for other people. I'm sure they would appreciate it, and I'd have fun. And then they'd actually be used. I don't know. I think if I get 6 more subs, I can have 1 more emote. But, like, I already have it made. I think, up to getting 50 subs. Because that's only, like, 2 or 3 more emotes. I don't know. It seems like not a lot. But if you can become partner, then you get a ton more. Which is, like... I mean, there's a lot of people that are, like, Twitch streamers because they want to, like, grow a community, make money, have fun, what have you. I'm just, like, I'm in it for the emotes. Oh, just so I can get more people doing it. No, I'm just kidding. I love the community aspect of it. Like, seeing the same name pop into the chat and say hi every couple days is just, it's a really awesome feeling. That, like, somebody's excited to come back and say hi and interact with you. And it just gives the ability to share something that you love I'm assuming most people that are Twitch streamers or trying to be Twitch streamers love video games and streaming or music, whatever they're doing on the platform. And it's just really nice to share that with an enthusiastic audience. Because, like, I love Minecraft, I love roguelikes. The Binding of Isaac is one of my favorite games. And being able to share that with other people it's so awesome. You can ignore any of the orange blocks that happen to show up. It just means the block that I placed is not oriented correctly. But that doesn't really matter on this build at all. And this is just the branch that connects it to a tree. So this is fully skippable if you're putting the beehive on the ground or like in a cave or something. I think in a cave would actually be really cool. Then you can also just do a similar style to the front. And, oops, ignore kind of everything else. So that's the gist of it. See, it's a big beehive, kind of dripping over. Like, see, if I just bump my mouse a little bit, it kind of ruins everything. It's a little nauseating. Okay, and now we gotta make our friendly bees. And these came about just because when I was in a creative server, they didn't have the ability to spawn mobs in, which I mean is perfectly understandable. Because people could spawn in a lot of entities and make things very bad very quickly. But this is one way to get bees in a setting like that, or if you just want to have larger bees that are permanent and don't move anywhere. And the Enrod Stinger Butt helps out a lot because it actually provides light. It doesn't really matter which of the yellow blocks you use to make their head out of. I just went for something that wasn't yellow terracotta. Just so they don't blend in too much with the hive from a distance. I think the black wool is necessary for their thorax, just so they get a little bit of fuzz to them. I mean, you might not see them for a very far distance. But when they are there, they're very cute. I guess that one got his wing clipped a tiny bit when I copied the schematic over. It's just a little outside of the line. Did I forget any? Okay, there's one at the top. It doesn't matter where you put these. Like, you can put them wherever you want. You can not have any of them. You can have more. You can have less. You can name them if you want. But I just tried to place them around a bit, so whatever angle you look at it from, you can see a couple bees buzzing about the hive. And feel free to throw in some honey block and honeycomb dripping off the outside if you want it to look like the hive is overflowing with honey. But that'll be it for this one. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you like the build, if there were any parts that were confusing and you need help on. And come back for the next one. That'll be all for now. Goodbye.